You're live.
Good evening. Welcome to the future, 2022. We finally got here. It's going to be a great year. I want to welcome all our guests here tonight. Today is Tuesday, January the 4th, 2022. We have a meeting that's mostly organizational in nature, but I want to welcome all of our guests here, and we'll get to business here. So we'll start by reciting the Lord's Prayer and followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Clerk, we have a roll call, please.
Yes. Devenall? Here. Krebs?
Here.
Lucy Natillo?
Here.
Rampy?
Here.
Chatham?
Here.
Bartlett?
Here.
Dan Natillo?
Here. Council, we had an opportunity to review the minutes from our last meeting dated December 21st, 2021. And we'll entertain a motion to approve minutes or amendments.
I move to approve the minutes as presented. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Now we'll move on to first part of our organization, which is election of President Pro Tem for 2022. We'll accept nominations from council and take vote.
I move we nominate Curtis Chatham as President Pro Tem.
Okay, is there a second?
I mean second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
I'd like to nominate Katie Rampy.
Okay.
I'll second.
We have two nominees. I just want to say I'm grateful that there are two nominees and both willing to serve council and the mayor's office. Very important role. Guess we'll do a how do we do the vote?
I've never had this.
Okay. Well, let's just do it as simple as
We
this.
did do that once years ago
Okay.
with Tim Armstrong, I believe, and I think we just, as a council, we just said who we were voting for.
Okay. Well, then, clerk, I'll turn it over to you. We'll do a roll call vote.
Devenall?
Chatham.
Krebs?
Rampy.
Lucy Natillo?
Chatham.
Rampy?
Rampy.
Chatham?
Chatham.
Bartlett?
Rampy.
Dan Natillo?
Rampy.
Congratulations,
That's 4-3.
President Pro Tem Rampy. Councilman Chatham, thank you for being willing to serve. I'm looking forward to working with all of council and particularly you two in leadership role. All right, moving on. We on presentation of petitions, memorials, remonstrance, introduction, motions, and guests, I would like to introduce our new Director of Economic Development, Tony Steinhardt III, and ask him to say a few words to council.
Good evening, Councilman and Councilwoman. I appreciate the opportunity to serve the city of Madison again and look forward to helping the administration and council redevelop and bring economic opportunities to the community. As we know, business today requires quality of life initiatives to create a place, and so we'll be focusing on doing that in the Community Redevelopment Commission's activities. So we're all excited about that. I look forward to meeting with each of you individually and having some conversations about that over the next few weeks. And if you ever need anything, I'm just a call or text away. So.
A little bit of background on Tony, Madison native, and as you walk in the door, the vestibule over there has his name on a plaque on the wall. You want to tell us a little bit about that, Tony?
So yeah, it's sort of deja vu. In 1993-94, my first job out of college, I was working for Morris Wood at the time, Special Projects Administrator, One of our projects at that time was to deal with the white elephant on Main Street, which was the old bank building here that had been vacant for a number of years, and we worked out a deal to move City Hall here and give us the ability to consolidate government into one building at that time, which was the police department, parks department, and then use those resources for other development at the time. And then also, it was fun today to come back as part of the TIF District and Redevelopment Commission as part of the 93-94 timeframe. I was a part of developing the original TIF District for the city of Madison. So I'm looking forward to coming back and seeing the fruits of its labors over the last few years, which the city has done a very nice job with, and implementing a number of the projects that we're going to be doing over the next couple of years.
Tony is going to hit the ground running because in his professional capacity as the managing partner for Ratio Design, they did a lot of design work and initiatives with the city currently and in the past. So his experience in community development is going to add tremendous value to the city. And earlier we had our first redevelopment commission meeting of the year, and we went over our work plan and some financial projections, and as well as the economic state of the community, which is very, very good. I'll talk about in some later comments, but we're in a very, very good position, and we're, I think, finally fully staffed up. Not sure that Dwayne O'Neill is here tonight. I don't see him, but we introduced him earlier as well as the city's first full-time code enforcement officer. So with Tony's arrival and Dwayne's as well, we'll just continue to execute on the initiatives that we've been planning for.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks for your leadership, and I look forward to working with Mayor and Mindy.
Thank you, John. Okay, moving on the agenda, we have no resolutions or bills, but I will just comment that one of the things that we are working on is drafting a list of priorities for 2022. We'll probably break it down in the first half of the year and the second half of the year. There's some carryover projects that we're working on, like our water project and a tremendous amount of economic development and stormwater, the flood mitigation and blight elimination are a few things that we'll be working really, really hard to bring to council, working with council as special projects and ordinances that are required there. Moving on, reports, recommendations, other business from standing or select committees of the City Council. Madam President, I will turn it over to you for board appointments.
Did you want to make your appointments to the Human Relations Committee first?
Yes, included in your package of material, we have, as we talked about before, we have a community that volunteers on over 24 boards and committees that the city has, and we still need some volunteers for probably about 6 boards. We are currently reviewing some applications. I'm grateful for the people that have responded to our outreach effort recently. We have an application on our website. Hannah did an outreach on Facebook. We received probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 applications for various boards. We're going through that now. But tonight, there are 2 committees which we're ready to go ahead and make appointments to. One is the Human Relations Commission, and these are appointments that would require council advice and consent. And the second one is these are 2 appointments made by the mayor, supported by council, and that is nominating Shane Bruner. Shane happens to be here in our audience tonight, so welcome tonight, Shane. And Aisha Cornelius. So those are my appointments. I'd like council to go ahead and consider those 2 appointments, and then we'll move on to the discussion of the county or the city council appointments.
I move we consent to the mayor's appointments to the Human Relations Commission.
I will second that.
Any discussion? Comments or questions from the audience? Hearing none?
I just want to say that I'm really excited about your new appointments. Aisha is the girl who spoke, I don't know if any of you were here for that, previously in front of City Council. She was fantastic, and I think she will do a great job representing individuals with any concerns, for sure.
we are gonna have an organizational meeting, sometime this month when we get it, scheduled, and I'm expecting some really good things out of, this year and the future out of the Human Relations Commission. So I'm really grateful, because that's not the easiest, board or commission to serve on. So, any additional discussion before we take a vote? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Madam President, there's 2 city council recommendations for reappointments to revolving loan committee, so I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. The 2 reappointments being requested are for Bill Hensler, with Gateway Investment Services, and Mark Foley. And these are just reappointments.
Those are reappointments to the revolving loan.
Reappointments to the revolving loan committee. Okay. We'll take a second to the. There's a second.
Was that a motion?
Is that a,
Yes.
you didn't know, okay.
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? Comments or questions? All in favor, please say aye. All opposed? Thank you. And just an FYI, there were 2 other appointments that were made this week. Emily Roberts was reappointed to the Cable Advisory Board. That's a mayor's appointment for a 3-year term. And Dave Adams was reappointed by the Madison Police Department as their representative on the Police Merit Board. So again, we appreciate everyone's willingness to serve our community, and we'll continue to, hopefully by the next meeting, fill up the vacancies on these other 6 boards that we're searching for. Also, council, in your packet is the appointment of standing and select committee nominations by the mayor, and basically the only change there per our rules is the substitution of Councilwoman Krebs for Amanda Creech, who would step down. Okay, moving on, the agenda. Basically, we do not have any city official reports. We'll start that at the next meeting. No bills on 3rd or 2nd reading. And now we'll come to the public comment section. If there's anybody here in the audience who'd like to address, make a statement to mayor's office or city council, please come to the podium and identify yourself. We'll do that now. Yes, sir.
Rick Roots, 1421 Cherokee Court. Happy New Year, council, or my mayor. Just 2 questions. We had a big rainstorm over the weekend. Did that adversely affect our community? And the second thing was, why were the flags lowered?
Over the last weekend?
Last weekend.
I'm not aware the city lowered its flags. To respond to your first question, we are closely watching the flood stage. Right now, we're only about 8 feet below flood stage on Bond Drive. But relative to the rain itself, we were staying ahead of that. So our street department was out cleaning drains, and we did not have any adverse impact from all of the rain. And I'm not aware that we lowered our flags last week.
I don't know if the city itself did, but some businesses did. I'm just sitting there.
I'm not sure. There's only 2 people who can order the city's flags lowered, and that is the governor and the president of the United States.
Okay.
So there would have to be a declaration by either one of those individuals, and they describe why it's being lowered and for the time frame.
Well, there was one by the White House last week, as far as on behalf of Senator Reed. Senator Reed from Nevada.
I'm not aware we received an order to lower the flags nationwide.
I'm glad we didn't.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes? Yes, sir. Thank you for your service, Dave.
Good evening, council, clerk treasurer, and attorney, and mayor. I'm coming to you this evening with my Salvation Army hat on, because I got half of the Army part of it. We've started our shelter. It's been pretty good. Last night we had 3 of our frequent flyers. They have rules to go by so we don't get a big crowd. We fed them supper. I spent most of the night there with 3 other wonderful volunteers. So it's, we make them clean their own beds up, we have cops, we kind of put them to work, and they're very good at that. So the 3 last night did a wonderful job with us, and we did that. So we'll be open again probably Thursday, Friday, maybe Saturday, maybe Monday, depending on the weather. And so I'm coming, our captains are both sick, I think they're kids, and they're passing the flu back and forth among each other. So they are out, and a lot of the rest of us are volunteering. Bob Cannon and I do on Wednesday, we go up and get all the groceries from the grocery stores that are close to expiration. We bring it down, and that's how we can feed a lot of our friends here. So we've got some of the gals do Fridays. We do a great job on Friday and on Monday. So we've got a good crowd volunteering there, but we need volunteers for the winter shelter. We only had 4 last night. Usually we like to have 6, so it makes it kind of tough. So I just want to say, call out to the public that we'd love to have anyone that would like to volunteer come down. You get to spend the night, at least spend 6 hours or 7 hours. You don't get to sleep, but you kind of take care of things to make sure the street people are safe and make sure they get up. We get them up at 6:30 in the morning because I say it's not a Holiday Inn. Of course, a lot of them don't like that. The out-of-towners really don't like that. They come to town thinking we've got a wonderful shelter. I said, no, we have a warming shelter. And at 6:30 in the morning, you get up, you go out on Hinkles, I'll buy your breakfast, but get your hiney out of bed and make your bed and go find a job. So it's a tough thing. Last time I talked to you about, we've got some new faces in town, faces we really don't want to see. And I'm asking people to, when you see someone, ask them, say, what do you name, what are you doing here? You can be courteous to them, but please do not give them cash. We've got several that can walk right down the street and smoke a cigarette inside. People give them cash. And we have a reputation all over the state, especially in Indianapolis, for taking care of people. So it's a tough love. I know Shane and I talked a lot about that. The churches were kind of curtailing things. A lot of them like to call and get a room for the night. It's kind of interesting. And then so the churches are trying to work together and say, our benevolence will go for those that need it, if they need rent, need other things, but we're not going to give it to those that don't want to work. We've got quite a few in, I don't know if you've been to Mad Castle, that's Larry and Sonia Faulkner's place on Mulberry. We kind of opened up right down to Thomas Number Project there. He's got 1-room apartments. They've got combined or public breakfast areas, kitchens, and public restrooms. Combined, or they're all locked up, so only people inside use it. So it's really working well for those that want to better themselves. So I think we're doing a good job. Like I said, last time we had 2 homeless veterans that came to town from Indianapolis and kind of used me, and we kind of sent them on down the road. So we are taking some welfare, and I think I want to congratulate Captain, the chief there. We had a call from the police had to respond to a veteran that was suicidal, and it was really a tough situation. We had several officers, and Captain Sly and some of the others replied, and we had our wonderful guide from Faith Weir, our county military officer. She ran up and spent about 8 hours with him up there. He had COVID and had the wife was kind of suicidal, so it was a phenomenal thing. Our community can really respond for those that need it, and we will do that, but we're not going to put up with people that really want to kind of use the system. So again, if anybody would like to volunteer, we'd love to have you come down to Salvation Army. We have a little packet you can fill out, and we'll put you to work.
Dave, are you still splitting shifts?
Yeah.
How are you managing that with only 4 volunteers?
Well, it's a little slow. We finally talked to the Chicago office into letting us do that. They wanted us there all night.
Yeah.
They wanted 6 people all there all night. We just can't do that. We don't have the volunteers.
So if you split it, that would be.
Yeah, it's one of our volunteers there, Curtis, and it's really frustrating. So we come in 7:30, we give them supper. They have to come in, they need to stay there, they don't keep coming in and out, they gotta be drug free and no alcohol on it. And then we got a crew that comes at 1 o'clock. And Chief is kind enough, Captain Jackson, our new captain, usually sends a couple officers over there. I like to have a couple officers when we trade. Most of our street people are, you know who they are, and we work well with them, but I just like to have a couple officers come by, kind of see what's going on. So we had, last night we had Nolan and Shelton, one of our new officers, and they came by, we talked a little bit, I showed them our setup, what's going on, and they work a lot with the street people, so it's kind of nice for them to see that we will take care of them, and that we have a few volunteers. So like you said, Mayor, it's, we doubled up, 2 on each shift, so it was we could get by with that, especially if we had just men, and it worked out pretty well. But it's, if we have some women, we have to kind of split them up and do some other things. So we're balancing, and especially with the captains out, it's, the volunteers are doing a great job, but we'd love more volunteers.
Thank you for the work that you're doing. You might want to come to, Stephanie, if you might mind coming up to the podium. You have a question?
This question for you, so don't go anywhere.
Uh-oh.
This is for you. I want to know.
Thank you,
You're gonna try to embarrass me on TV?
No, I want to know if the Chicago office has waived the training fee. Trainings that has to be
Well,
done for
we're down to a
volunteers.
2-hour fee. Something happened in Australia, so they've overreacted, and now we're doing this training stuff, which is kind of silly. But we have to go through that. Chicago says you got to do the 2-hour. I did when I did the 10 and the 20 hours to talk to them, so I can tell them we want a shelter down here. We had to go from an emergency shelter to a warming shelter. So we're one of the only places that do that, and now we're kind of combined this way. So we're trying to work. The mayor's been trying to work with the MOU on 32 degrees. It used to have to be 5 o'clock. It has to be 32 degrees,
Yeah.
but usually after that it's kind of cold. So we've got that. We're signing that. I think we're trying to say anytime it's below 32. Chicago wants to say 10 degrees.
Oh, my.
Well, they've got shelters.
We'd never be able to live in
And,
10
but
degrees.
see, they've got shelters. They don't care about that. So we're trying to give them some southern Indiana hospitality. Shove it down their throat.
Yeah,
Thank you.
because see, I would volunteer, I was gonna call yesterday,
Thank
but
you,
I
Dave.
haven't finished the
Well,
training.
she's one of our volunteers that we take, some of our friends that want to go through training and do rehab, we take them up to the ARC.
Yep.
And that's just phenomenal. So I've taken probably 30 people at a time, but it's nice when we have a female, that we have some wonderful volunteers to go drive with us and put up with it. But it's, we're trying to get that training down, so we've got to step up and move quickly. So I'm trying to get the captains moving along there too.
But it is available online, so if you're interested in volunteering and would like to be at the women's shelter, you can go online and do the training that way. Captain Stephanie hooked me up with the site, so ask her to help me out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steph.
Thank you both very much. Any additional public comment? All right, thank you. A couple of quick things, just to give you an update on some priorities we're working on. I mentioned the water project, so we're continuing to work through the analytics involved in the rate study. Right now, there are 4 tiers that's embedded in that rate study, and there are some pretty significant differences between residential water users and county water users, and so we're trying to refine our analysis there and get it right. It's an important thing to do since, we haven't done this in 14 years, so we're trying to get it right now because the increase is going to be steep. So we're being thoughtful about it. On the economic front, City of Madison, Jefferson County is doing really well. The Department of Workforce Development released some updated statistics on unemployment, and just to give you a point of reference, about 18 months ago, at the height of COVID, our county unemployment rate increased to over 20%. As of the end of November, we've made a tremendous recovery in unemployment, and that has declined to 1.8%, which is below the state average of 2.1%. So we are, I know that there are dozens and dozens of jobs still available in our community that go unfilled. There was also an economic report released today that 4.5 million people quit their jobs in November. And that has created a workforce gap of 10 to 11 million people nationally. So what we're dealing with here in fulfilling our workforce needs is happening all over the country. But we're also preparing for a changing workforce, and that our population is bringing us. So that's why our economic development priorities are, I think, are as ambitious as they are. I mentioned 2022 legislative priorities, but embedded in that is the stormwater management. We've got to figure out a better way to deal with stormwater across our community. I would say in the 2 years that I've been in office, that's been the most challenging thing. Not only recovering from a flood that devastated for the second time in 6 years, hundreds of people out of their homes, displaced hundreds of people out of their homes, and caused millions of dollars of damage. But we got to figure out how do we manage stormwater more effectively and take a more methodical approach to investing in stormwater management. On the flood relief side of things, we have, as you know, council approved late last summer flood relief, and we have removed 160 tons of flood-related damage to the transfer station from primarily the Walnut Street corridor where it was hardest hit. We provided flood relief in the form of waiver of all of our trash and water and sewer fees for 6 months to 28 households who took advantage of that in the affected area. And we are continuing to work with the Army Corps of Engineers on the watershed, the Crooked Creek watershed evaluation, so we can come up with some potential solutions to mitigate damage from a future flash flood event. We are almost done with our vegetation remediation plan. That's probably, I'd say, about 3/4 of the way. We're waiting for the water to go down in the creek so that we can get more of it at the lower level. But that's moving forward. That will take probably the better part of 2022 to come up with the plan, and then from there we'll determine what infrastructure is going to be needed and the level of investment it's going to require to mitigate a future flood event. I believe it's possible. We've already identified a few key things that we feel will mitigate a future flash flood. But it is difficult because we're dealing with multiple government agencies. We're dealing with DOT, DNR, Department of Homeland Security, Army Corps of Engineers. It's a lot of planning, a lot of discussions, and just a lot of work. But we're going to get there. I'm confident we'll get there. We're also monitoring what happens in the new session at the State House. They started today. It's going to go on for a couple of months. I'm on Ames Legislative Committee, but a few things that will definitely affect the city of Madison and other communities across the state will be a push for lower corporate taxes, and particularly business and personal property taxes. And then something that I am excited about, that's a Senate bill that's being proposed that might help us, is a drainage task force. At the state level, they recognize the difficulties of stormwater management consistently all across the state. So there is a proposed bill. It still has to go through all of the committees and Senate and House before it's approved. But the goal of the drainage task force is to review the responsibilities of landowners and state and local authorities under current laws relating to the drainage of the land, and to make determinations concerning drainage and regulatory matters, and a few other things. But that's exactly what we need to do here at the local level as we're starting to design what level of ordinance or structure can we put in place to have a more effective way to manage stormwater. And in the short time I've been here, it's been a very difficult issue to get our arms around. Hopefully good things come out of this drainage task force. I'm on the Governor's Public Health Commission. We've already been working on trying to improve public health outcomes for about 6 months, and we'll be delivering a report by next summer. And but there's a lot of things that are part of Governor Holcomb's 2022 next level agenda that will improve the state and affect all of our communities. Glad everybody's here. I'll stop there, answer any questions that council or anybody might have. And next council meeting is Tuesday, January the 18th. Continue to work forward on all these initiatives. Council, anything else? Thank you. Thanks everybody for being here too.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Thanks everybody, and Happy New Year.